We are back, Season 4 of the Craft Beer Connoisseurs podcast. I'm Tyler, and along with me are two other hosts and a producer. For those of you who are new to the podcast, we like to showcase breweries, their beers, and conclude every episode with a thematic-ish conversation. If you're a casual listener or a seasoned vet, you know what to expect. Producers continue to change throughout episodes, but the same old connoisseurs will continue to provide top-tier content. Please feel free to listen to all of our previous episodes and producer specials to get an insight into all the breweries and beers we've mostly enjoyed. And whether you're new or returning, we are pleased to be your favorite craft beer podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons, send a friend request on Untapped, or subscribe on YouTube at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Also drop a comment, like, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Now for today's episode. Welcome to the Craft Beer Connoisseurs. I'm Tyler.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Brett. And along with us today is producer Todd.
Todd, there he is.
Hi, Toddy. All of us point at him until he gets miserable.
Yeah,
and he's miserable now.
Not a big fan of pointing, I don't think.
No,
not being pointed at least.
By three people aggressively. I don't really blame him.
Like hostile environment. He's like, I'm new here.
Yeah, please accept me.
Well, in today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Rorschach Brewing out of Toronto, Ontario.
Yes, and now I figured out how to say it. Rorschach.
Good job.
And I'm super excited for this one.
I am as well.
We're season 4?
Yes.
It feels like season 30, but season 4. And I think from the very beginning, this was one of the breweries that I was hoping to get on. So
Yes.
We've
done well, right?
we have done well.
And we're going to have two of their beers today. The first is Serum, which is a double dry hopped IPA. And the second is a watermelon candy sour version of Jolly Beans.
Very nice. Interesting that we're starting out with True Serum because that could dictate the rest of the episode. Could be good and could be bad. And we're going to finish off today's episode. We're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into our minds and look at some ink blots. Okay, we're back. Boys, open up your minds and later on your mouths.
I'm not really good at opening up my mind. It's not really good for me.
Well, there you go. But one thing I will tell you is the location of Rorschach, and that is 1001 Eastern Ave. I like that. It's easy to remember.
Yeah.
In between the Leslieville and Peaches district of Toronto.
Yes.
Toronto.
Toronto, if you're an American sports announcer.
Yeah, very, very explicit with every syllable. So they actually started producing beer, and they opened in 2017. The name Rorschach comes from Rorschach tests created by the Swiss psychologist. We'll talk a little bit about Hermann Rorschach a little bit later on, but he created it in about 1921. Really expanded throughout his whole life, the whole ink blot thing, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. This test is actually a way to provide data, albeit subjective, about cognition and personality variables. We'll dive into that a little bit later on.
I'm a little bit afraid for that now.
Oh, yeah, you should be. You 100%.
Is it because I'm on the podcast?
No.
No, we're just going to be very vulnerable and put ourselves out there and let people see how our minds work.
We've been doing that for about 3.5 years.
Not really.
It's just in a different context.
Yes, different light. Yes, I get you.
And anybody that has some kind of degree in psychology, they might be able to see a little bit more than they want to. But,
yeah.
I mean, that's how the sausage is made, right?
Yeah. Well, the brewery itself was founded by Matthew Reiner, Chris Ristevsky, and Mohan Pandit, who all met when studying mechanical engineering at the University of Toronto. And while they were studying, they found that there used to be a course that was about beer making and fermentation, but for whatever reason, it had stopped before they studied there. Maybe the students were getting too drunk.
Maybe they weren't fermenting. They're fermenting more things than beer. I don't know.
Well, that's possible.
I think they just handed it all over to Niagara. They're like, what? Niagara can deal with this mess.
Send it down the QEW.
Yeah, we're done with it.
So they thought, hey, this would be a good idea to set up shop in Matt's basement. And then they decided to study the magic behind the fermentation themselves.
And I think they've done a pretty good job so far.
I would
say,
agree.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, basement to brewery is always a success story.
Right. So in terms of that, the beers that are created by Rorschach are fun experiments and kind of push the boundaries of what can be considered beer. But at the end of the day, the beer needs to be drinkable. And so they place a large emphasis on producing beer that is both flavorful and drinkable.
We like those two things.
Yes.
Now, they do have some more experimental beers as well.
Sure.
That they place a large emphasis on the subjectivity of flavor and understanding the uniqueness of each individual's palate. And this allows for beer lovers, like ourselves, alike, to give their own unique perspective on a beer. And you're going to get a few of those today.
Yeah.
Perspectives.
Yes.
And beers.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Is like some of the beers that they've done, I think all of us might have tasted it a little bit differently, but might have came to the same rating. You know what I mean? Like it's that's
fair.
That's the thing is they can be very unique and it's so damn delicious.
Yeah.
I've had some pretty good beers.
I know.
They're definitely one of my favorite breweries. They've had a lot of really good beers that I've had, and we'll get to that. But there's also I've had some of those experimental ones that they've done, and some of them didn't necessarily fit my palate.
Sure,
so,
there could be
which
some
is-
hits and misses.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, right? Is like, going with the Rorschach test, like. Everyone's going to try something, and everyone's going to see something a little bit different.
That's
so
the
I like that.
subjectivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So the brewery, and I think kind of their brand, right, is very tied into community. And we've seen this before with a lot of other breweries, but they really put a strong emphasis on the community and giving back to the community. So, Brett, you were just talking, obviously, about the uniqueness of the beers, and the main thing is it has to be drinkable, right? So I feel like their understanding of their community is very strong.
Yes.
They know what they like, so they kind of brew beers towards that. But they want to make sure that everybody has a space. They've done a lot of different collaborations.
They have.
They've looked at cafes. There's been bakeries, bars, restaurants, authors, maybe some psychologists. We don't know. But I can tell you one that is noted up here, influencers.
Oh.
And sometimes we don't call ourselves influencers, but people might refer to us as influencers.
They might.
Yeah.
Perhaps the craft beer connoisseurs could get in on this.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to not try.
I think we have to.
I think there's a line that needs to be added there. As you said, bars, restaurants, authors, but didn't say anything about podcasts.
That's what I'm saying.
right.
Yeah.
Need to add that in there.
I think we got to do it.
So we'll keep bugging them a little bit on that one.
Yes.
Picking their brain, if you will.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Thank you.
But let's talk about the brewery space itself.
Sure.
Okay. So at the front of it, it literally looks like an old house. Seriously.
Yes.
I
What?
believe you.
Yeah, because I've been the only one who's been there. But once you get inside and make your way kind of, we'll say, through the living room into like
The living room.
into the kitchen, where the beer's made.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of seating in the kitchen. It's actually quite a nice space. Okay.
Yep.
It's got that wood, again, as I like to say, the rustic wood. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
And you get to walk. This is just a side
Oh,
note.
you get a walk?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But to go to the washroom, you have to walk through the kegs, the brew.
Oh, really?
Okay.
You got to walk through all that.
So it's an experience.
It definitely is an experience to go to the washroom there. Indeed.
Now, one thing you said, I have to correct.
Oh, maybe.
You said you were the only one that's been there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did catch that
But
too.
look who's pointing back at you. If it ain't Producer Todd
Yes.
with the finger wave too.
It's amazing. I was trying to avoid the finger pointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you point one finger, there's four pointing back at you.
Yes,
Mom.
apparently they've been there
Yes,
too.
Producer Todd has been there, but you were right. Chris and I have not been.
Have not been there.
We hope to change that.
I think if we're doing a collab, then we simply must.
Yes.
It would be hard to do a collab without being there. And the great thing about Rorschach is it's in an area where there's a lot of different breweries around there. Like
Yes.
Left Field's there, Black Lab, Radical Road, Eastbound. Like there's a whole bunch of breweries just in a really small area that you can hit up really easily.
Yeah, we like them.
Yeah, we do.
Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about the beers that they've created then? Just throw us some numbers here.
Yeah, so 339 different beers, which is a pretty good amount on Untapped. Average rating of 3.85 out of 5, which I think is actually really good because they take chances with these experimental beers, which
Yeah.
are not always going to get the good ratings. And to keep your average after 81,000 check-ins,
pretty
close
good.
to 4, that's really good.
Yeah. And I think when we talk about the diversity of beers, and we'll probably kind of get to that, I guess, when we say what we like. But the diversity of beers, I think, caters really well to having a higher average because you will get individuals who like sours. You will get individuals who like the IPAs, dry hopped or otherwise, right? Like, so it is nice that they do, again, cater to their community.
And they're making everything, right? It's not like just, just IPAs and sours. Like they're making pilsners, lagers, literally everything because they want to bring in somebody who's going to try a little bit of everything, right?
And we know they make a little bit of everything because when we said that we were going to be doing this episode, we received a little bit of everything.
Yes, we did.
Which is great. So not only did we get the beers for today's episode, but we did get additional beers.
A few samples.
Yes.
Yeah, which, I mean, I have here, and you guys will be leaving here, but you might not be leaving here with any. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
That's the only reason I came.
I saw a couple I liked already,
that's true.
so
That's true.
I might tell you that they actually didn't come. You know, I should have just
even
said,
though you sent a picture of them already coming.
I know.
Yeah.
I should have just sent the picture of only the podcast beers and told you nothing else.
You should. That's your own fault.
That would have been slimy.
But we should really talk about the beers that we've had already.
Okay.
Which is not including the ones that we may have soon enough.
Sure.
So I've had 26, and my highest rated one is a 5. Yep.
Oh, what a shock.
Yeah, exactly. Which was, and I've talked about this beer earlier, it was the Bougie, which was a smoothie sour stout. I did have the last one of it on tap, and it was definitely well worth it. Let's just say that.
Was that on the Untapped Year in Review
Yes. Yes.
episode? Yes.
One of the 5s that I had.
Yes. One
of the many fives that this guy had. All right, so I've had 22 of them. I think. Again, this doesn't surprise anybody, right? 4.75, and it was the Hersey. Why would you guys?
I was thinking hearsay, but there's no A in there.
No, there isn't.
Hey, that's what's said.
Yeah.
Hersey?
Passion fruit pineapple smoothie sour. I love this line. I love all of the smoothie sours that they have.
Yes.
Like I could spend a week just drinking those straight.
Well, I have had 14, so not as much as you guys. My highest is at 4.5, which is Reverse Psychology, which was a hazy IPA. Now, I think I've had some of their sour IPAs, their Hedonism series, and those are really good. They do a really good job with those sour IPAs. But Todd, he's had 58.
He must have had a lot of them when he went there.
He must have.
And I know he's did a couple orders from them before too.
Yes.
Which we might have got a couple.
I think we've all
us,
I
kinda,
think
yeah,
we've done an order together
think so.
from Rorschach. Sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Let me check my credit card statement.
I'm just going
It's
back
there.
right now just to see what we got.
Over the years and years and years. So he has a 4-way tie with his highest rated from Rorschach at 4.75. So 2 of them were the sour IPAs that I mentioned, and other 2 were smoothie sours, which you mentioned, Tyler.
So food-wise, because I eat a little bit. They're kind of known for their outside of the box ideas in terms of mixtures of ingredients on their thin crust New York style pizza.
So they experiment with beer and pizza.
Yes, and they're throwing like a little bit of everything in there. Like think of something that's probably shouldn't be on pizza, and it's probably been on one of their pizzas.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I think actually there has been on it. But also, I mean, getting their beer is very easy. So they have 2
That's
full.
good.
Yes. I like it when beer's easy to get.
Yes.
It's fun that way. So they have 2 full-time listings in the LCBO, Truth Serum, which is obviously one of the ones we're having today, and the Hinduism, the passion fruit orange guava sour. And do offer Ontario-wide delivery. So they do deliver to Toronto themselves. That's nice of them.
Yes. So before we jump in, there's 2 things I want to correct.
Okay.
1, hedonism,
Yeah.
and 2, this. As I was reading, I was like, this Hershey thing's not making sense to me. And it is a typo in the script.
Okay.
And that's why it didn't make sense to me. So I was going back and forth. I was like, no, I think it was supposed to be Heresy, Heresy, which makes more sense than what it is. And and the correction is correct because I looked it up as well, which, again, a doctrine variance with established religious beliefs, especially dissension from or denial of Roman Catholic dogma, falls more in line with what they have, and that is what we have. And we're all pointing at Todd. First time, last time, Toddy boy.
Goodness
So
gracious.
as I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't think that's right. And I just wanted to clean up those two. So,
Well, thank goodness he knows how to spell Todd. Anyway, so obviously delivered to Toronto themselves, and they do ship beer through different providers. So delivery is free over $50 in Toronto, free over $100 in select areas of the GTA, and a $15 flat rate for Ontario-wide shipping. And of course, if you want to be nice and kind of drive down there, take an Uber, whatever, they do offer in-store pickup through their takeout window as well.
That's pretty cool.
Very good. So their hours, Sunday through Tuesday, 12 to 9, Wednesday, Thursday, 12 to 10, Friday, Saturday, 12 to 11. Big fans of afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Afternoon
And being open 7 days a week.
That's true.
Everyone loves day drinking.
Everyone does.
Everyone. Well, as always, we're going to link to their information on our social media.
All right, and let's go on to beer number 1.
Okay, we're back.
We are?
First things first, we got to thank Nolan.
Yeah, big thank you to Nolan.
Huge thank you to Nolan for curating today's beers for today's episode. And as previously mentioned, regrettably, for myself, a lot of other beers. So thank you for that. Rock, paper, scissors for the other ones, guys. What do you think?
I think that's fair.
I think old Toddy Boy's made a couple of mistakes, and he's going to be looking from the outside.
What does
in.
the finger point get me? Does that get me anything? I guess that'd probably almost be paper.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. But almost rock, too. Depends how close you go.
It's actually probably closer to rock.
Yeah.
A lot more so because it's a rock with a one finger extended. We call that a sharp point. Greatly appreciate the communication going back and forth. I think Nolan was great, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I think they're super excited to hear the episode, just like we're super excited to make the episode.
And I think we're hopefully planning to be down there sometime soon.
I hope so.
Right? Maybe
For that collab.
Yeah,
totally
exactly.
Keep poking at it. But yeah, let's hope that...
Poke with that rock.
Let's hope Nolan and Rorschach is not disappointed with this episode, much like my parents are with me. All right, so today we're going to be doing the True Serum. It's a double dry hopped IPA.
Yes, it is.
Yes, correct.
6.5% ABV and IBUs aren't listed. You guys, you don't have to curl up, get a little chuckle in there.
No, I just thought we were leaving the psychology to the last
I thought I'd
section.
blend it in.
Gotta have a little bit of here and there, right?
Yeah,
Throughout the episode,
listen, we haven't had the beer yet, but things might be said after. We've talked about this True Serum.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Get a couple beers into you. You never know what happens.
There you go.
Anyway.
Tell us a little bit about this one, Brett.
I will. So this one is brewed with gold notes and hopped with Citra, Simcoe, and Mosaic, with notes of mango, passion fruit, mandarin, pine, tropical fruit, and grapefruit. A nuanced bitterness with a hint of sweetness.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just a reminder to always follow us on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons and on Untapped at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Now, True Serum has been checked in about 4,500 times at the time of recording, with an average rating of 3.94 out of 5. So just a bit higher than their brewery's average. It's had 75 5 out of 5s, and 81 of our beloved friends have checked it in with an average of 4.03 out of 5.
Yes. 81.
I'm so glad that we added that to this podcast. Just gives it a little bit more depth.
And I like the fact that it's higher than what the rating is for the beer, right? Our friends have liked it more than the other, 4,400 people.
I was waiting to see what you're going to call the other. And I'm glad you went with a number, not a name.
It's better that way.
And those other schmucks out there.
The swine.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what we got here. All right. Let's grab that can. Let's grab that glass. Let's open her up. Oh, yeah. Smell that. That's good.
Right off the old hop there,
Yeah, it's good.
That smells great. And as we smell it, we're pouring it into our IPA glass. So make sure to use your proper glassware.
Very good. What are you guys smelling? What are you picking up? Brett, what do you got?
Definitely getting that tropical fruit, if you will, off the old snifter there.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of the mandarin aspect, some passion fruit, but still some pininess to it.
Yep. Citrus, a little tiny bit of hint of rindiness to it. Nothing terrible, but this smells really, really good.
It does smell good. Okay, so looking at it, we got a nice color. Again, it speaks to that kind of everything we just talked about, like a tropical fruit punch almost. You know what I mean? Like very orangey, but almost like a kick of a sunburst color.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna go with Five Alive.
No, just like there's just like it's not strictly yellow, but it's not orange. It's got like a nice kind of like variation to it.
Yep.
It's like a softer orange, maybe.
Yeah.
Very, very hazy.
Very easy, yeah.
And a nice kind of fluffy head to it.
And I'm glad they use that softer orange because I have a feeling that this beer is going to be big on softness and mouthfeel as well.
Oh,
Well,
right?
you've had it before, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I might have spotted it, but yes, maybe we've had it before.
You've had it before.
Don't mind having it again.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had it, so I'm really looking forward
Well,
to this. Let's
then I feel as though you should take the first
yeah.
sip.
You go for
guys,
it.
sure.
Yeah, why not? Go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, I think you need that, sort of attention right now.
Oh, thanks so much. Let's all point at Todd.
Let's all point at you while you drink.
Let's come back to, and sometimes we forget about this because we got to keep things moving. Usually producers move us fast through this. But I really want to take a look at the lacing on this one. I really feel like it's
Okay.
going to be there. But let's put a pin in it, and I will take a sip.
Yeah, you put that glass to your mouth.
Oh,
There
he
you
has
go.
done it. He has put the glass.
I don't need you to
mouth.
coach me through drinking beer.
Oh, you've done
Well,
this
I don't
before?
know from the day drinker himself, Chris over there.
Yeah, huge day drinker.
You don't like a good day drink?
I've dabbled.
You've done.
Take a morning, a day, an afternoon, an evening. That's nice.
Brett, you go ahead.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, picking up piney on the back end and the fruits on the front end, which is nice.
Oh yeah, and it's like there's a lot of fruit in there. It's it's hard to pick out any one thing specifically, but if I had to pick what's most dominant, I would say it's like the orange, like the mandarin, the orange. That's what's hitting me the most.
I'm getting the mandarin and a little bit of the rind as well. But definitely it's I'm not going to say fruit explosion, but like it's definitely balanced in terms of the flavors that I said earlier provided in this beer.
Yeah, I feel like there's a very smooth progression between, but I am picking up mandarin straight to grapefruit to pine. That's what I'm going with. And that rindiness might be it may not be a ruby red grapefruit, but it might very well be.
I don't know much about grapefruits, so I'm going to say yes to that.
Yeah, but I think that's where that's the progression that I'm getting with early on in sipping this, subject to change.
Absolutely.
And Brett, you did mention a mouthfeel before we took a sip, and it does have it has a creaminess to it. Definitely not like as creamy as a lactose involved in it, but they did bring out a creaminess in this beer.
Yeah, would you go with creaminess or stickiness?
I am going to go with creaminess.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can because
it's
what
kind of
I'm saying?
weird because it's like creaminess while the sip is in your mouth.
Yep.
And then when you swallow, it kind of becomes that stickiness, not in a bad way, but just kind of lingers there in a good way.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that this is double dry hopped, but it's got almost like a sticky dry hoppiness to it, and that's kind of like that's where I'm at with it at least. But it does add a little bit of another element to it. The beautiful thing is that the beer does not suck, and
It does not. You're right. That's a
and
great thing.
because it doesn't finish fast and it does linger, it makes you want to go back for another drink. Which again, the beer doesn't suck, so it's a good thing.
Well, that's why you can find them in all your LCBOs. Right? You can find a lot of them. And if you guess what? You make it through one, you could have another.
But you know what I mean? It's like sometimes there's beers out there that
suck?
it just it's true. It just hangs around, and you're like, okay, I need something to drink, but you're continually drinking the same thing until you get another pint, or you cleanse your palate with the water.
Do you want to know what the best time for this beer to have it at? During
Right
the day.
now.
During the day, you never know.
Yeah, right now is also pretty good too.
Yeah.
So let's move on to their top 5 flavor profiles.
Sure.
Number 1, juicy.
Yeah, I think it is juicy. I think we all described different fruits that lead it to the juiciness. Number 1, maybe not.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't put it number 1.
Yeah, I think it's on my top 5, but not number 1. Number 2, hoppy.
Makes me hoppy.
Yeah, I'd say it's hoppy.
Is it a number 2?
Yeah.
2-3.
I think this is going to be my number 1 here, but number 3 is citrus.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would say citrus is number 1.
Okay. Number 4, smooth.
Yeah, I think it does drink relatively smooth. I don't see in the top 4 one that I would put up in the top 4, but we'll see if it's in top 5.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, it does drink smooth. But I probably would have some other things that I would put before that.
Okay. And number 5, fruity.
See, it didn't have in the top 5. What I was thinking. So I think we have juicy, citrus, and fruity. I would eliminate 2 of those and keep citrus in the top 5. I would throw piney in there.
Yep.
Mouthfeel for sure.
Yep.
It doesn't suck. I don't know if that's
Not suck.
Todd is pointing at you saying that is not an untapped flavor profile.
yeah, and Todd agrees with a lot of those ones as well. Like again, mouthfeel, the creaminess that you were talking about as well, which is good.
And I think fruity is not a bad way to describe it because it is fruity. It's just that we like to get a bit more specific on that sort of thing.
Yes.
So,
And Todd's over there is like, you should maybe talk about other people because apparently he's too sick of hearing us talk. But we're still going to talk anyway. So Tyler, you have a first review from Untapped.
I do. Yes, the first one is Alex W. The handle ALWOJO24. Interesting beer name. Big hops forward, aromatic mouthful of delicious double hopped IPA. Salute. 4.25 out of 5.
nice.
Not bad.
So the next one comes from Evan W. And the handle for Evan is Canadian_redneck, but the E's are 3s.
That's how you know he's cool. I wanted, before you continued, I needed to finish my sip, but I didn't want you to just jump up. But yeah,
That's a cool thing.
Yeah,
cool guy.
Evan's a cool dude. So Evan said, juicy and fruity with surprisingly little bitterness despite reasonable hoppiness. Don't take that as a negative from this beer. A nice full summer beer. And Evan gave it a 4 out of 5.
Or a January beer.
Yes.
Or day drinking beer.
A day drinking
Night
January beer.
drinking.
That's good, yeah.
Whenever.
Yep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Do you guys want to do our ratings?
Yes,
We should.
do.
Excellent. So how about I get things started? Great beer, well balanced. I like the evolution of it from the beginning of the sip to the end. We haven't talked about lacing, so I'll do that now. Minor lacing, not a whole lot.
Yeah,
A
not
little
as
less
much
than what I
as
thought
we
you
would-
expected, I believe.
For sure. Yours is a little bit more than mine, but sometimes that's just the way she goes down. I'm going to go ahead and give this I'm going to give it a 4.25. 4.25. Great beer.
Okay. So I have also had this beer, Brett, and I had this almost 1 year ago to the day, February 1st last year,
Do you know what time?
8:04 p.m.
Oh, I was hoping so badly it would be like 1:27 or something.
And I had it at the craft beer market in Toronto. But I gave it a 3.75 at that visit, and I'm going to bump it up a little bit to a 4.0.
And again, we talked about this earlier, but that could have been just because of the keg that was at the craft beer market, right?
It could be, yeah.
absolutely.
And we weren't there, so by all means,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
so,
a
I mean,
0.25
I think
jump.
the company might have added it a little bit.
Sometimes it matters.
It's not wrong.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I mean, I've had this beer before, both with company and by myself, and I've given it a 4.25 before, and I'm going to stick with that exact same rating at a 4.25. Producer Todd is pointing at me being like, I like it. I like that rating. So he is also going to give it a 4.25.
Very, very good. Chris, what's that give us, bud?
So overall, that gives us a 4.1875, which of course,
4.1875.
yeah, we will round up to a 4.25, which makes sense because 3 of us had 4.25s.
It's math,
You're
folks.
so good, Todd.
math.
Todd, you did good, kid. All right, let's move on to the second beer and see if this true serum makes us truthful. All right, bippity boppity boop. We are back for the second beer. This beer should be good, hopefully.
Should be some truth.
I don't know.
You're right. So, truthfully, this beer is the Jolly Bean series. Okay.
Okay, this is true.
You might not know about the Jelly Bean series, but there are a handful. I'd say maybe 6 or 7. I think there's 6 of the Jelly Bean
Oh,
series.
I was really hoping it's 6. There's actually 6.5.
No. There is 6, and this one is the watermelon candy sour version. Now, guys, you know I like my sours,
Yes, you do.
so I'm hoping this one is good.
Do you like watermelon?
I do like watermelon.
Oh,
Do
there
you like candy?
I love candy.
Dun, 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 dun.
Copyright. 6.5% ABV. The IBUs are unlisted, but hopefully it doesn't matter because I'm hoping it tastes delicioso.
You know, watermelon is one of those things where when it's in candy form, it tastes way better than when it's in fruit form.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Might
get
be the
that
added sugar,
artificial.
perhaps, yeah.
Yeah,
That
the
artificial flavor
yeah.
watermelon. I mean, that could be said for a lot of different ones too, right?
Yeah.
Like strawberry, sometimes artificial because it actually has more flavor than
Yeah, but
strawberry.
you like or hate the artificial banana.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Bananas.
We'll get off bananas back
hit
to
and miss.
watermelons.
Yeah, bananas hit and
Yeah,
miss.
let's get back to this beer. So it
it.
is both sweet and sour with just a touch of bitterness to balance. They aim to bring you back to the youthful times of standing in the candy aisle with your allowance money and trying to buy candy.
Did anybody get allowance?
I actually did not.
I did.
I did not as well.
$5 a week from the time I was born to the time I was 18.
From
the time you were born. And let me guess, you did just as much work as you do now.
Was it really an allowance, or was it more of just like a hey, we're putting this money aside for you?
It was pretty much put into an RESP and
Oh, that's not an allowance.
It's an education fund.
hey, college was paid for. Anyway, first year. But I will tell you, I was an entrepreneur back in the day when it came to candy.
I think we've discussed that.
And we have to, yeah. Well, then we don't need to.
No,
Perfect.
you can. Go ahead.
Just I would be one of those people at the Circle K, Max, Becker's, whatever you want to call it. I'd buy some candy, I'd take it to school, and I'd sell it for upcharge. Simple stuff.
It's true. And
Profit.
who wouldn't want to buy candy from your sweaty pocket?
Backpack.
Oh, there you go.
Because I was buying a lot of it.
Wow. Buy in bulk.
Even a teacher got in it a couple times.
Oh, wow.
That teacher's no longer a teacher.
I think she just felt sorry for you. So.
But yes. Yeah, they're no longer a teacher. Anyway, so in terms of Jolly Beans, the watermelon candy version, it has 89 check-ins at the time of recording with an average rating of 3.85 out of 5. 1 5 out of 5.
You've had this before, Brad?
I have not, no.
Oh.
But God, they had a fuzzy peach version, let me tell you. Actually, I think it might be one. And only 2 of our friends have had it with an average of 4.43.
Oh.
So it could be one of the 5s
Hey, now.
in there. I don't know. I didn't do... Todd, I don't think, did the research on it.
Didn't do enough, at least.
No.
There you go. So Todd's coming in with some information here. They have 4 jelly bean series. They do have 2 other ones that are listed with jelly of the benevolence series, which is
right.
a jelly donut
Yes.
and then a peanut butter and jelly. But yes, so of the jelly bean series, there's a cherry blast.
It's the Cherry Blasters, yeah.
I don't know if you can say that. Watermelon candy
Watermelon sours.
slices.
Slices.
Jelly beans peach rings.
Oh.
Maybe peach rings.
I'm going to go with peach rings on that one, yes.
And then grape gummy.
I'm going to go with grape gummy bears, perhaps.
Tough to
Probably.
say.
Yeah.
But there you go. So there's the.
Here's the 5.
There's
Or
them.
4. Sorry, pardon me, 4.
There's them's. All right. So that's done. Let's get
Glad
into
we
this
got
thing here.
the truth out on that one in terms of 4 Jolly Bean series. 2 of the ones had jelly in it.
It's true. One thing about this podcast is we have integrity. All right. Grab your can. Grab your glass. Without further ado, let's open her up.
Splash in the mouth there. Almost tasted it already.
Oh my!
Oh, dear.
Cheater, pumpkin eater.
Well, we are drinking this out of a tulip glass today, so make sure to use your proper glassware.
Very good. Very good.
Look at the color on that, eh?
She's beautiful, and especially in this glass.
Yes.
Like that is.
Yeah, thank you for bringing the proper glassware, Chris,
That is
for us to have it
gorgeous.
in.
Well, that's my one job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
pretty
you have
much,
to,
actually,
one
yeah,
is
yeah.
show up,
Yeah.
which you've been doing on the regular.
Yeah,
And,
3 in a row, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
We
true.
weren't counting it. I'm
Hey,
glad
I
you
said
did.
last episode, well, we see 3. We have seen 3.
We saw.
Do you see what I see? Chris here for a 3rd time in a row.
It's true. Well done, Brett. Yeah, a nice kind of pinky raspberry watermelon hue.
Yes, it looks very nice. about average amount of head that you would expect from a sour, which they don't usually have that much head, and they usually do dissipate quickly. But yeah, it looks really nice. Smells delicious.
It does smell delicious.
What I would want to do with this is mix this with like a watermelon jello. And make watermelon jello shots out of it, Like take the watermelon, cut it in half, scoop it all out, mix some of these with the actual watermelon itself. Put some watermelon jello in, pour it back into the casing of the watermelon, let it set, cut it into slices. Bada bing, bada boom. You got yourself a nice time.
I don't know if you know this, but jello shots cause food poisoning.
I've heard some people that have got sick off of jello shots. But
It's happened.
I don't think it was food poisoning.
I think we had jello shots at one of your birthday parties in university.
And
before.
we did the same thing with oranges.
Yes, we did.
I know.
Yes.
The inspiration runs deep.
Got to get those peach rings in there next year.
Yeah. Anyways, let's drink it because I think we talked about what it looks like.
What a great choice you just made.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys go ahead.
You are so selfless.
Oh, I know.
Is it because we've got the ink blot coming up?
Yeah.
You don't want to be analyzed too much?
Take it easy on me.
Boys, you're going to see some stuff that once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Been there before. Anyway, this beer, I kind of figured that it was going to have a lot of tartness to it because a lot of the Rorschach sours do have tartness involved and acidity to it. I am liking what I'm getting so far. Almost thinking like the one thing that I'm definitely getting off is the sugar.
Yes. It is sugary.
I mean, I don't know if you people out there have had a watermelon slice, the candy version, but there's sugar involved.
Yeah, you can see it. I would say this is more sweet than sour, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's the watermelon flavor is interesting. It doesn't taste necessarily like the candy. So I wonder what they used to bring that watermelon flavor into the beer.
I'm assuming some sort of puree or
Extract or something.
extract.
Yeah, like actual.
I'm thinking probably
actual
extract.
watermelon.
Yeah. Well, extract and sugar.
Yeah, there's a certain flavor that deviates a bit from that tartness. That might be some of the sweetness, but it's a very fine line between the two that I'm picking up.
Is it kind of? I don't mean this as like an insult to the beer or anything, but kind of like an aspartame, like a artificial sweetener flavor.
Which might come from the extract.
Yeah, like it could be
A little bit.
It could be something like that. But like again, talking about watermelon it's not going to be a true watermelon flavor. It's going to be more of that artificial watermelon
for
flavor.
sure.
And I am getting that. The candied part, I think that's where I'm coming. Like that's what's really kind of hitting in, whether that's the sugar, as you mentioned, Brett, or whatever that might be. But like it does have like that candied-ish kind of coating to it. Yeah.
And the one thing I would going to point out is this can's pretty fresh. It's about a month a little bit since it was canned that we're having it right now. This, I believe, is their second batch. Be interested to see how the first batch was. But also, I feel like this would be one of those beers that I wish I had two of. Or one I would have pretty fresh, and another one I'd want to have it sit,
Kinda sit for a
for
bit.
a little
Yeah.
bit, 6 months, 9 months, and just see
See
how
how it
much more
develops.
it would develop, right?
Yeah. No, fair enough. Yeah, no, it is really refreshing though too, right? Like I feel it is at least.
Yeah.
But it does have like kind of that come
Yeah.
back and get it. It's there.
Kind
Chris,
of leaves you like I said, it's not super sour, but like still puckery kind of.
yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is almost what a watermelon slice does.
Yes, exactly.
That's true. Like those are like you're eating those by the handful,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because again, they're not super sour.
Yeah. So in terms of the top 5 flavor profiles, let's go there. So number 1, I actually didn't know this was a flavor profile, but is candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah,
it definitely
for
tastes
sure.
like candy.
Yep.
Sure.
Number 2 makes its appearance again, fruity.
Kind of a cop out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it there personally, but
Yeah, I
number
agree.
3 is sour.
I'd move it down. I'm not getting. It's not super sour, which is very.
It's more tart than sour.
Yeah, but it's also like palatable. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
which we discussed, right?
Sometimes
Like,
you
it's-
get a sour that's just like
yeah.
puckery.
And that's where I feel like the refreshing is coming in because
Yes.
it's got like the fruit forward, but not fruity.
Right. And this one I would put above sour for sure is sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes hand in hand with the candy.
Sure.
And then number 5 is watermelon.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like it needs to be, right? And get fruity out of there, throw watermelon up a bit, which is nice.
Anything else for you guys? I don't know. I think it's pretty small in terms of the number of flavor profiles that I would pick, right?
I did mention refreshing. I feel like this is refreshing. This could be your day drinker.
Oh,
Producer Todd. Nope. Okay. He agrees with all of us, right?
Todd's got nothing.
Yeah.
Untapped users. Brett, hit us with the first one,
Yes.
bud.
So this one, first check-in's from Stephen J, and his handle is Just a Geek.
Oh,
Okay.
Good for him.
Yes, exactly.
he's
So-
self-aware.
Yeah. Okay. So his description was bright cherry red with vanishing head, sour candy aroma, nailed the watermelon candy taste, sweet and sour in equal doses, starts in watermelon, then mild sourness takes over, but the sweetness hangs in. A fun sour, and rated a 3.75 out of 5. I actually think that's a very good description of this beer.
Yeah, I think
I would agree.
Very articulate. I think it gets to the point. Well done. Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, Steven.
Yeah, I don't care if you're a geek or not. That's a good review.
All right, the next one comes from Scott. Handle is SR Hillier. And Scott said, another super fun beer that is delicious for one. Great pink color and super sweet like a Jolly Rancher. You can't say that, Scott. Little bit of tartness at the end of the sip to balance it all out. And Scott gave it a 4.75 out of 5.
Obviously, he's not up on his copyright issues. Anyway, so I'm going to start our ratings off here.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Yeah, you know what? I will.
Good.
Thanks.
Do it.
I do like this. I think a little bit more tart than I would like, but the flavor is definitely there. I'm going to give it a 4.
4 on the nose.
Yes, on the nose and in the beer.
There you go.
So I mentioned it earlier, like it's kind of coming off a little bit like the artificial sweetener to me. So I think I'm going to go lower than you, Brett. I'm going to go 3.25.
All right. Very good.
Tyler, what about yourself?
Very fair. Very fair. Yeah, I see what it's doing. I don't mind it. I think if it warms up even just a little bit on this, I feel like I'd get more of that watermelon flavor.
It'd be interesting to see if we would have took it out earlier. And just
Yeah, a
let it
little
sit
bit,
there.
just a little bit on it. But again, I think it does what it says it's supposed to be. And you guys know me, I respect that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to give it a 3.75, and Producer Todd's going to give it a 3.5 with the following comments. Not getting the watermelon flavor, which is good because Todd, no bueno watermelon flavor.
Oh.
And then also actually had, which is a surprise to all of us and kind of insulting, had the grape flavored Jolly Beans, which he also enjoyed. And we're all
Where was our invite?
point at you, Todd.
Why didn't we all have the grape Jolly Beans?
Well, I
then?
could tell you why.
Why is that?
Todd doesn't like us.
Wow.
And
As
you're getting one
evidenced
producer special.
by the pointing.
And that's it. One producer special and you're out of here.
We gave him that too.
Yeah, well, it's in the contract. You guys know
Fair.
you know the
Yeah,
rules.
You're right.
Well, you know what Todd can do, though? He can do some math.
Well,
Thank goodness.
let's be serious here.
What's Todd got? You better do this right.
It's not complicated, but so overall, it's giving us a team score of 3.625, which will round up to a 3.75.
Thanks, Todd.
Yes, so that concludes the review of Rorschach and the beers provided for today's episode.
And now it might be the scariest part of any thematic conversation we ever had. We'll be right back with some ink blots. All right, we're back. Now, time for the thematic conversation here with the Craft Beer Connoisseurs
And Todd.
and Todd.
Can't forget Todd.
It's true. So yeah, we've mentioned before with Rorschach Brewing being named after Herman Rorschach himself. And again, we also mentioned that Herman was a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst. Interesting notes about him. He died when he was 37 years young.
Oh, wow.
Yes, from Peritonitis. There we go. Peritonitis. Jeez, look at that. One too many brews. Attributed to
drinking.
Yeah, which then actually it was actually attributed to a ruptured appendix. So that's tough.
Yeah, back in, what was it, early 1900s?
Yeah, you're about 1930-ish, I think.
Because he did
now.
make the Rorschach test in 1921.
Yeah.
I don't think he was 3. So
That's true. You were kind of late 20s, early 1930s.
Yeah, not great medicine back then.
Yeah, not
Nope.
good. And would have liked to see a couple other things like ultrasounds or CT scans would have really helped him out with
maybe he would have had a couple double
appendicitis.
Dry Hopped IPAs. He would have been fine.
Yeah, it's true. Wild things back in the day. But yeah, although Herman was really young, he did make a mark on psychology as a whole and created the ink blot tests.
And inadvertently created Rorschach Brewing.
In a weird way, he did, and that might come up in one of these ink block tests.
They
You
do say
might
in a
see the brewery.
They do say in a roundabout way, and it's like the roundabouts that you face when you go to Waterloo when you're like 6 of them right in a row.
Yeah. So I think it'd be best, to understand our interpretations of a couple of these ink blots, and then what we'll do is we'll put those same ones on the post for the brewery.
Yep, the socials, as the kids say.
The kids do say it. That is true. And we will see what your interpretations are. So feel free to comment or DM what you see. If you don't want people to psychoanalyze you, by all means, just DM it. And then we'll just share it. No, I'm just kidding. We're not like that. Chris,
But Todd is.
I believe we do have a disclaimer there, Chris. If you want to give that a little readout, that'd be great.
Yeah, so we are not educated enough in this field, and anything we say should not be used either for or against the judgment of us.
We should have said that at the beginning of every episode for the last year.
Welcome to the Craft Beer Connoisseurs.
That should be part of our introduction.
I don't know why we're not saying that.
Enough in
Our
this field.
season 5 introduction is going to be literally that.
I don't know about you, but I feel more educated in beer than I do psychology, even though I did take a couple psych courses. I've also taken a couple beer courses.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. I've taken more beer courses than psychology courses, so.
Yeah, I've taken 0 psychology courses. So
It shows. All right.
Hence, you saying we are not educated enough.
So what we're going to do is we're going to actually cut Todd out because I'll be honest, Todd has kind of dropped the ball in this episode.
yeah, well,
Then give us a great version of the Jolly Beans.
Yeah,
we've had better producers.
we have. But that's okay, Todd.
Very true.
We'll still have you back because that's what the contract said. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to do a rotational of the ink blot. So that way I'm not always doing the first one.
Okay.
I think we got to take our hand at it. There's 4 of them because I thought Todd was actually going to do a good job. So what we'll do is I'll do the first one and then we'll work our way around. And we'll
You'll do
figure it out.
2, and both of us will do 1. Yeah, we get how it's going. Yeah.
No, we're all going to do them. It's just who speaks
first,
first.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you got, well, that might show up in a blot. All right, so here's the first one. Very traditional. I see, with this one here, I see a butterfly with a couple little hands, kind of like an overview. It's again, these are from the 10 that Herman has created. Brett, what do you see?
I see a silhouette, Scaramouche. Can you do the... No.
What do you see, Brett?
Honestly...
Oh, no, not that.
It's like me trying to read can labels, right? So it's just...
It is very much artwork.
yes. I mean, obviously there's a silhouette. I mean, it is even on both sides of it.
Yeah, but what do you see?
I see almost like a Batman logo.
Okay, Batman logo. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where Robin is, but
Okay.
I'm going to go with that. Or a California condor. Because when you remember when you do like the sign language of the California condor, I know obviously nobody's seeing it. But
But no, see these.
yeah,
ink
look it up.
blots
It's
right
California
now.
condor. Yeah. Look
Okay.
at that.
Chris, what do you got?
So this might be weird, but
Oh no, you're a mass murderer.
I kind of see like, do you guys ever see the movie Donnie Darko?
Yes.
And like the bunny mask, like I kind of see that.
Okay.
With the ears on the top and the crazy eyes and the weird smile.
Oh my goodness, is that what you see? Intriguing. Brett, you're gonna do the next one. You're gonna start the next one, okay?
Yes, okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, okay. It almost looks like a volcano erupting
Okay.
with the smoke signals at the top.
Okay. And at the bottom is...
And at the bottom is just, more smoke.
more smoke. Okay.
I'm not sure that's how volcanoes work.
Nope.
but-
Okay.
Disclaimer, not educated in that either.
There you
Chris?
go.
This looks like two grizzly bears high-fiving.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. I
Yeah,
do
okay.
get that. I get two humans either praying, but they've got like kind of like a wizard hat. So it could be like a gnome or something, like two gnomes coming together.
Okay.
All right. Interesting. Brett, do you see that at all?
Yeah, no.
Okay, you can see that.
I see both versions. I don't see my version anymore.
Ink blot. Okay, Chris, you got this next one, all right?
All right.
Now, I'm going to tell you, it gets a little bit progressive.
Okay. A little weirder.
It gets a little bit progressive. And this is why I selected these four.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Okay. So at first glance, I kind of see like two mermaids upside down, and they're kind of like swimming to the bottom of the ocean.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
That's it, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of see what you're kind of getting at with that. I feel like it is what I pick up is kind of like a dragon figure coming out the top, and that's the head of the dragon on both sides, and then the body of the dragon coming down. So very kind of like anime-esque, if you will.
Okay.
Yes. For myself, I see it being a mixture of fire and water. And because obviously fire and water don't really mix together, that's kind of my 2 cents, if you will, on the blood de ink. There, Tyler.
That's fair, I suppose. It's not a volcano, you sure?
Pretty positive.
All right, you want me to start with the last one then?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. There's a lot of things this could go. A lot of ways you could
These
do
are
this.
very intricate.
Well, you can definitely go PG and then non-PG.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
for
I think
sure.
that's true. I think what I see is the center top point is, let's say, like a worship idol, and then everything else out is kind of like a progression of like a concert, like the stands in the stadium, but like they're like different amoebas, almost like a microscope, kind of looking down, and they're having like a concert into the middle. So you have like a crab kind of thing there. You have a seahorse. You got like a slug. And they're all worshiping whatever the center idol is.
So
Think Little Mermaid on LSD.
we said we're not qualified, but I think this shows that you overanalyze things.
No, do you not see it though?
I mean, I get what you're
Right?
saying,
Like
but
there's an idol in the middle. I mean, I would say I'm probably the most qualified, but I'm also very not qualified in this.
What I
Brett?
want to see is where is the gun pointing? Because it looks like two people having like a round off, but then there's two guns randomly at their backsides. With
Okay, I see that,
With a
yeah.
bunch of fighting spiders at the top, with like hitting on their heads.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely creative. Yeah, or it's more like. Obviously, like being in science class and having like a telescope and it looked like a bacteria and you just like scope down.
Microscope. Yeah.
I said that. That's what I said.
Yes.
I said about the microscope. Yeah.
Yes, just more in depth.
Yeah. Okay.
My microscope's better than your microscope. No,
So
My
I'm,
microscope's a microscope. Yours is a telescope.
I'm kind of afraid to say this just based on what a psychologist might say about me, but it looks like two people on either side. That's the
You're going
the
way
brown,
too in depth with it.
the brown figures, and then the gray thing is like one of those claws, like like in Toy Story when they like grab the toys with the claw.
Got a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
Disney from Chris. Little Mermaid,
Yeah,
Toy
yeah.
Story.
And
No, he has kids.
and it's ripping their heads off.
Oh,
Okay.
And there's like you see like the blood drops in the middle there.
Okay.
And then I get what you're saying, Brett. It's kind of like spiders or insects using like a feather duster to hit
to really clean
the
off,
people.
take the dust off
Yeah.
their heads. Yeah.
Do you not think that maybe this is like some kind of like palm leaf or something? And two little crabs are just waving these palm leaves over, like
Looks like Randall from Monsters Inc.
I don't know.
There's a
Maybe,
Disney reference, Pixar
maybe.
reference.
But yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Hey, fair enough. And that's the beautiful thing about, I don't want to call it pseudoscience, but potential pseudoscience and the subjectivity around it. But those are 4 of the 10 original Rorschach ink blot tests. So analyze it as you will. Listen to the podcast as you should. And we'll be right back with our conclusion.
That's all for today's episode. Thank you again for listening. Keep on listening every other Thursday as the Craft Beer Connoisseurs release a new episode, and on our off Thursdays for a producer special.
And make sure to tell your friends, family, and your favorite psychiatrist.
Yeah, because that's important.
It's true.
So from all of us and producer Todd, I'm Tyler.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Brett, and together we are the Craft Beer Connoisseurs.